Hi everybody, G Bear here. I'm back at the ranch here, and I just finished cleaning out my solar distiller, as you can see right in front of me here. I washed it all out, got it all ready for the next batch of water going through it, and I did some resealing on the inside. I'm trying some of that spray seal stuff you see on TV that's supposed to be a waterproofer. I'm not very pleased with it. I've noticed that it's peeled up in a few places and I had to replace it 4 or 5 times. But it looks like I finally got it to a solid state here where it'll be ready to put water in it again pretty soon. But that's not the experiment we're going to talk about. I'm continuing my experiment from the desert with my electricity from air. And you can see right in front of me, I've got my voltmeter set up here, and I've got those antennas that I was using out in the desert. But I've done a little bit of research, and or I should say experiments, not research, and I found out some interesting things here. First of all, let me turn the meter on here and get my two probes up here. And as you can see, these are the probes coming off the meter. Now, if I hold these two probes in my hands, I get a slight reaction. It flashes off of 1/100th of a volt and goes back and then nothing. Okay? Now, if I pick up a positive in one hand here, and which is a copper, and aluminum in the other hand, look at that. All of a sudden, I've got 0.15, 1.4. It fluctuates up and down, 1.6. So that's just holding these two wires here. Now I'm at 0.17. And I found that the longer I stay still with these things in front of me, the more the voltage climbs on it. But to make it go even faster, if I picked up a second copper wire and a second aluminum wire, and I grabbed those together here, look at that, 0.36 all of a sudden. Isn't that something? Now, this is what we saw out in the desert. Now it's up to 0.38, and like I said, the longer I stand still with this, the more it climbs. I've had it up to a half a volt already, and there's up to 4 now, and that's pretty amazing. Now, I thought it was the sun that was doing this, but I've tried it in the shade and it doesn't make any difference. Now, here's something interesting. If I get rid of the aluminum wires, I have two steel wires here. And this would still be considered dissimilar metals as far as the battery situation would go, like I did in the ground. So now I've got the steel wires here and the copper wires here. And look at that. It's nothing. It's 0.02, 0.01. So the steel wire doesn't work as well as the aluminum. Okay? Now, another thing I noticed was that, let me get this hooked up back onto the aluminum wire, is that I'm holding these fairly close to each other, and you see I'm at 0.33 right now. But if they in any way come in contact with each other, look at that, it just drops the voltage like instantly right to 0. And that's just making contact with them between the two. Let it go and it jumps right back up again. Now what that's doing, I'm not sure, but I'm going to research that a little bit further. Okay, last but not least, let me turn this camera a little bit over to this side, and you'll see in front of you some strange stuff. Okay, first of all, for the aluminum one, I've got some of this conduit casing, and I just hooked it together so that it'd be in a three-way like this, just to give me a little more aluminum. And I'm going to clip on there. And then I got this big old heavy-duty piece of copper wire. I bent it in the same shape because the ends were so long. I coiled them so that it would be easier to handle and it wouldn't be dragging on the ground. So now I'm going to clip my probe onto that one. And let's get this, oops, I dropped my meter. Let's get this over here to the meter. and see what's going on. I can hold it with one hand while I get this meter put into place. I don't want to make contact with anything. Look at that, I'm jumping up into the 40.4 like almost instantly with this, and I keep making contact with the ends, and that's why we're getting these different readings. My leads aren't quite long enough to be doing this, but let me see if I can switch hands here. Maybe that will help. And okay, so I'm not making contact with anything here, and it jumped up to 3.38. Now again, just holding these things steady for a while. I was standing in the backyard just holding these before I went on camera, and the voltage just kept climbing, and I was up over a half a volt. Right now it's just not seem to be doing that. I don't know if I'm grounding here or what. Oh, there would 0.42 0.42 now, as you can see on the meter, and that's just standing still. 0.43. I'm not doing anything, I'm not adding anything to it, I'm just standing still and not moving, and it keeps climbing on it. So I'm going to try to set these, so they're at 0.44 now. I'm going to try setting these in a way where they can just sit out here and see how high the voltage actually goes. There's got to be an explanation for that, and I want to find it out. Anyway, that's it for now. Time for a beer.